From the soundstage of the digital media classroom here at Wellington High School, this is another episode of Dialogue with the Dukes. The show this morning, as always, is being brought to you by the Patricia Lindley Center for the Performing Arts, located in the McCormick Middle School, located adjacent to Wellington High School, and also by the Wellington Music Store, located at 117 West Herrick in downtown Wellington. This morning, our student helpers are Brian Elder and Eric Benko. This morning, I have to say that it's an honor and a privilege to be sitting next to these two young ladies because they are just two members of the 16 members of the girls soccer team who, in the inaugural year 2019, became the conference champions of the Lorain County League, going through the entire conference season undefeated. And I'm just so proud of them, and I'm just so happy that they're here. Natalie Calfo, welcome, and also Alaine Bremke. I want to talk first of all about last year. Last year, if my records are correct, we were 11-7 overall. We were 6-3 in the pack. We were sectional runner-up, and we didn't have any seniors graduate, so everybody came back last year. So for you, Natalie, as being the youngster at the table, not having any senior graduates last year, what did it mean for the whole team coming back?
Just coming back, I think coming back to go conference, we knew we really had a chance and we could pull it off to win conference, and we pumped ourselves up like we got this, we're already together as a team, we already created our family and had that bond, so we thought we could just come out and we thought it would be a lot easier than it actually was, I think, in the beginning, and we really had to come back together in the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad that Natalie came up with that bond that was created. Talk a little bit about that and how close the girls are all together as a team.
Well, we've been playing together since we were really young. I think I was 5th grade when I joined Jason's team. So for us, the bond was always there, no matter what. And I'd have to give it to Jason because he kind of made that happen. For the seniors, they were the ones who taught us what a team is supposed to be and how we're supposed to work together and stuff. So, I mean, like what Natalie said, we kind of came into the season thinking it was going to be easy and that we got this because we have the bond, but in reality, it wasn't like that, and we were all kind of caught by surprise. And to try and get back to the way that things were, meaning like just the bond and all that we normally have, that was kind of difficult. Mm-hmm. But I mean, obviously, we figured it out.
Yeah.
So.
Obviously, yeah. Well, it's a good point that Alaine brought up because last year, Coach Jason Gundert, it was his first year being the varsity coach, although he has a lot of experience coaching. But that first year, Natalie, talk about a little bit about how Coach Gundert kind of ingratiated himself to you all because he was put in a kind of a difficult situation because the previous varsity coach had some serious medical problems, and he was put in a bit of a tough situation.
Yeah, we all, I think, expected Coach Lee, the previous coach, to come back, and it all took us by surprise when Jason said that he was going to be our coach for the year. And we were all kind of excited because we felt like Jason would give us the push that Coach Lee, we didn't hear he pushed them very hard, so we were excited that he would push us more and condition us so we'd be more ready for the season. So we were all kind of excited and nervous, I guess, to see how Jason would handle coming on to as a varsity coach.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can certainly speak to that from my experiences with swimming and changing coaches. It's always something new that you have to adjust to, shall we say, and you don't know really what you're kind of in for with the new coach. Well, Alaine, you talked a little bit about the bonding and things like that. How did the team actually approach this year?
Like I said, we kind of came in with big heads, I feel. It was difficult because we didn't have our starting goalie. And with Lauren's injury at camp that she had, we kind of, I think, thought that it wasn't going to be as well as what we thought it was going to be because we didn't have Lauren and we didn't have our actual goalie people were put in positions where they normally didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of messed with us a little bit during like our scrimmages and stuff that we had preseason. But I don't know, I think that we kind of pulled out of that as well, mid-wise. So.
Yeah, and Natalie, you already kind of mentioned the fact we're in a new conference this year. What was the difference between playing in the PAC and now playing in Lorain County League?
Again, like I think that we thought, like since we got rid of Buckeye and we only had Firelands, like there wasn't going to be much competition. Like we definitely thought we had it in the bag, and like the other schools weren't going to be that hard. But when we actually with all the injuries and stuff we had, I don't think we thought we could win conference in the game this season. Like Lauren's injury definitely took a hit on us, and our mid-sal had to get organized again, and Grace had to step up into a new position, which was she adjusted to really well. She's such a great player. And I think just coming into the new conference, it's just interesting to see how all the other schools stepped up and competed because they all think they could win.
And it wasn't as easy as you thought it was going to be, was it? But it turned out very well. But before we go to break, we have the two young ladies here, but I want to give a shout out to all of the girls, all 16 members of the team. Starting out with Natalie Calfo, sophomore, number 8. Maddie Lewis, she was a sophomore, number 16. Amanda Speakerman, a sophomore, she was number 2. Savannah Tletsky, she was a sophomore, number 6. Number 3 was Haley Georgievich, she was a junior, but she was injured for much of the year. Maddie Mull, junior, she was number 15. Jenna Krakenberger, and I love saying that name, and the PA announcer last night really screwed it up. But because the last part of the name is much like mine, I love saying her name during the PA announcement. Jill Leposki, one of the team co-captains, she was number 15 and a junior. Lauren Alley, as we already talked about, was injured for much of the year. She was a junior. She was number 12. Allie Haswell, a junior, and she was number 18. Alaine Bremke, our goaltender, a junior this year. And then we go to our seniors. Number 1, Micah Smiley, who did a tremendous job last night in the districts, which we'll talk about in the second portion. Co-captain Grace Dudziak, a senior this year. Jenna Calfo, Natalie's sister, a senior, number 20. Michaela, or Rue Godsey, a senior this year. She was number 25, and she was also injured for much of the year. And finally, number 23, Allie Starner, she was a senior. So even though we had 16 members on the team, and starting out with new positions and so on and things like the fact that we had some people injured early in the year. In fact, Allie Starner messed up her elbow kind of through the, so we had a lot of injuries to contend with, so it made it really tough. Well, when we come back after this commercial break, we will talk about the season itself and how the team fared, and speaking specifically about girls on the team and what they accomplished. This is Dialogue with the Dukes.
Come down to Wellington Music. We have brands like Pearl, Zildjian. We have drumsticks to play the drums, ukuleles. We have guitars, sparkly guitars, bass, acoustic guitars. We have strings for your guitars. We have keyboards and Marshall amps. 117 West Herrick, Wellington Music. We're open and waiting for you. For more information, call 440-647-3233. We can't wait to rock out with you.
We hope that if you have any music needs whatsoever, that you visit the Wellington Music Store located at 117 West Herrick in downtown Wellington. Well, we talked a little bit with Natalie and Alaine about last year and the things that were involved last year, and then coming into this year and the challenges that we're faced, not only becoming members of a new conference, but also the fact, yes, we didn't graduate anybody, but as we said, we had our times, especially with injuries and things like that, that caused us to step back a little bit and say maybe we aren't quite as good as we thought we were. So this year, our overall record, and we'll talk about the fact that the team did end the season last night. Unfortunately, not on a good note, but we'll talk about that. So this year, our overall record for the girls was 11-2 and had 3 ties. And they were undefeated, as we talked about, in the conference. Our only blemish was 1 tie, but the fact that we were undefeated and we were the Lorain County inaugural champions in girls soccer, that is just fantastic, I think, for Wellington High School. We reached the district semis against the top seed, and unfortunately we came out with a 3-0 loss, but through the first 60 minutes, it was 0-0, and Alaine was doing a wonderful job in goal, just stopping everything that was within her reach unless it was over the goal. So I guess my question to you, the fact that we reached the district semis, do you feel, Natalie, it was a successful year?
I think it was mostly a successful year. There's definitely some of the games that we could have won. Most of our ties last night we could have won, but I think we just had a few screw ups and the ball doesn't go your way sometimes. So coming out with that loss is definitely a huge hit on us. But overall, looking back on the whole year, it was a success for us.
Mm-hmm. Well, the fact that it didn't rain.
Yeah.
And the thing is that this team, as we saw in the sectional finals, when it was raining and cold, and the girls seem to play even better when the weather's terrible. It didn't rain last night, even though it was supposed to. But it was a nice night, and wind a little gusty, but it was a good night. Well, the fact that we were Lorain County champs, Alaine, what does it mean to you, and what does it mean to the team?
Well, I mean, coming into this is the first year for the Lorain County conference, I guess you can call it. So I think that being that we won it, it just kind of it means a lot to me just because I'm a junior and I still have at least 1 more year, so hopefully we'll do good next year. But I just feel like it means a lot to us, and it means a lot to the seniors as well because it is a new season, or a new conference. So I don't know, I feel like it's a good accomplishment to feel the win, undefeated and all that.
Well, I didn't discuss this question with you, but the fact that we are in a new league, Natalie, and now we play everybody twice.
Yeah.
So what are the challenges involved with that?
Definitely some of the challenges were when we played them the first time. The second time we went to go play them, they switched. Keystone, the first time we played them, they weren't really good, and then we went to go play them again, and we didn't score until the last 5 minutes, and they just played defense on us. So them knowing our lineup and where everyone's going is definitely a challenge because they can defend us better, and it's just a little harder to come out with that win.
But we played them too, so we know what their secrets are too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a double-edged sword, I think is the right word. Alaine, you are not a senior this year. You're a junior, as you said, but you're one of the upperclassmen. How do you help the captains on the team, and how do you help Coach Jason with the younger kids? I shouldn't say kids, the younger girls.
Honestly, I don't really consider them captains, and I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm saying it as in we all step up to the duties that we have to do. When it comes to running practice, we all step in. We all do our part. We all do what we're supposed to be doing. So Jason doesn't really have to yell at us. But, I mean, yes, they have the captain label. I don't feel like it's really an actual position that they have to step to because we all do our part. Jason, he's obviously coached us for a long time, so I think that when we all came into this season, when we all came into, well, even last year, I think that we were all kind of at the same pace, at the same level, so trying to teach new people new things wasn't really a problem for Jason because he was teaching everyone at once. else.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to brag a little bit on two of the players on the team, one to my immediate left, but the first one I'm going to brag on is Grace Dudziak, one of the co-captains on the team. She led the team in scoring this year with 16 goals, and including ties, she was fourth in all of Lorain County in scoring. She also led the team in assists with 7. So what did Grace mean to you specifically? And do you think she was satisfied with her? And I know I'm putting words in her mouth, but do you think she was satisfied with her performance? Or do you think maybe she thought she could have done better?
I definitely think she was satisfied with her year. This is probably the best year I've seen her like step up to the plate, and stepping into Lauren's position was definitely a big move for her because she hasn't really been put in that position
Right.
at all. And playing mid is one of the harder positions on the field because you have to see everyone and you have to make those crisp passes out to the sides and stuff. It's a really difficult position, and just being thrown into it is
Right.
not easy. So I think she handled it really well, and we were all proud of her. And even when she doubted she couldn't play, everyone picked her up, and everyone was there for her.
Yeah.
And she had those great shots, those upper 90s, and every time we had a chance to shoot off of penalty kicks, she was there and she put them in. She's got that leg, and she's really good.
Yeah, she definitely is. Well, I'm going to put Alaine on the spot a little bit here. I want to talk about Coach Gundert, the fact that he's in his second year. What do you feel like he taught you this year, and how did he actually motivate the team?
Personally, Jason really pushed me this year. Not having the goalie being put in the position, I was really doubtful for it, and I wasn't prepared for what was actually happening and what was going to happen. But Jason helped me and held my head up because I did not think that I was going to be able to do it. But Jason was really good about keeping me positive and keeping me aware that this is what's going to have to happen now, and I'm going to have to get used to it. And he pushed me, and here we are.
So with Coach Gundert, and then Grace Dudziak being put in a whole different position and leading as she did, do you really, and I've never asked this question before, and Grace is not here, so it's going to be kind of a tough one, but to Natalie, do you really feel that Grace was a role model on the team this year?
I do think that she was a role model because she's playing football as well as soccer, being a kicker, and she's pushing herself, and she's always working out. She's always jumping from back and forth from soccer and football, and just having the control of being able to like build up the legs and in everything she does. She's definitely a big role model, especially to me, like being able to come out and play that position as well as she does and focusing on what she needs to do every game. It's such a big position. Like, I don't know, she played so great this year. It's so amazing to see her come out, especially in her senior year.
And oh, by the way, she was also homecoming queen. And as my wife said, how often do you see a picture of the homecoming king and queen both in football uniforms? Well, now it's time for me to brag on Alaine. And she's already talked about the fact that she was put in a tough position this year. Our original goaltender that we thought would be back did not come back, and Alaine stepped up. The fact number one, Alaine was out almost all of last year with a serious leg injury. I want you to talk about the injury if you can, and talk about also what, shall we say, for lack of a better term, why did you decide to become the goaltender?
Well, I tore my ACL preseason in a tournament game last year, and I waited for surgery until September. It was a 9-month recovery, and it was lots of therapy, lots of doctor's appointments. It was both mentally and physically challenging to try and better myself and get out of the recovery stage. Coming into the season was difficult mentally just because I hadn't played in a year and then being put in the position. I was nervous to play because diving and stuff, like I didn't know how my leg was going to react to that. I didn't know how my leg was going to react to anything. I mean, the only thing I'd really been doing was running and maybe passing the ball here and there. But other than that, like it was difficult to just get back into it. But
yeah. Well, the fact that we ended up in a situation with the leg, and then the first game we played this year that I saw, and you kicked with your right leg, I went, oh, well, it must be okay. Last two questions. We talked about the fact that we lost last night in the district semis. How did the team approach the game last night?
Definitely we had practice the Saturday and Sunday before the game, and we talked about how Independence had 3 forwards. We've never played with a team that's had 3 forwards, and we scrimmaged them preseason and we lost. And so we were talking about compacting the middle, staying together. We were trying to find the outside mids, so we were like passing the ball and like how we wanted to on offense and how we wanted to defend, and making sure our outside mids came back, which I know was scary because that was probably the most running the outside mid had to do all season, and both our main outside mids have asthma. So, like, I know that was some of a concern to some of them, but considering what they did last night, I'm really proud of them and everyone on the team.
Well, and I'm extremely proud of the two of you and the whole entire team, because they did a wonderful job this year, being the inaugural champions, getting to the district semis. I mean, for a school the size of Wellington, I mean, that's a fantastic accomplishment. And the fact that, oh, by the way, the team kept them scoreless for the first almost 60 minutes of the 80-minute match. And everybody in the goaltender did a wonderful job. Natalie, and I don't know your position, and I don't understand all the positions in soccer, but everybody on the whole team did a wonderful job. And I'm so proud of not only you two, but for the entire team. And I'm really, really looking forward to next year, because both of you, I hope, will be back. And it's going to be another wonderful year, I hope. We will be back again next week with another episode of Dialogue with the Duke.